Yeah, I haven't found many spells that'll be helpful with that.
Yeah, because I don't know if anyone remembers, and I'll just cap it off, but you all had found yourself eventually on the island of Elytos in the town of Tanya, and you're trying to find Aiden Marsden, who is possessing a net of unbelievable power. And the only thing you know about him is Aiden, for some time, had been living in a small fishing village named Tade Morden on the west coast of the White Sea. And after being accosted by one Lee Reed, he seemingly fled the area. There was rumor in the town that he had gone to uh, basically go to see his mother's family, and that's about all you know. You're now on the sort of southern. You're on an archipelago called the Teal Islands, or Teal Shadow Islands, that are in the very, not so much the very southern, but in the southern region, south central region per se, of the White Sea, and a much more tropical sort of area than you've been in before. And basically, you got to the main island using a teleportation and trickiness from Lee with a little bit of detective work, and then you were able to get to the island that you had heard was where his mother's family was, and here you are. You have since um, watched Mark fail to set an all-you-can-eat crab record. You have had a nice meal, got a little bit drunk, then just kind of drove around, or no, rather, just kind of swam around a bit, in the water. And that's basically it. Not a lot else happened for the most part,
Lee less accosted him, more just confronted him.
in a sense. There certainly was a confrontation. Words were exchanged, threats were named. At some point, I could say who, but someone was thrown out of a boat. But overall, you do not have the net.
Yeah, I don't have much to help with that. I have locate object. That's kind of the main of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what else I could also. I mean, I think Rangers get locate person, or locate creature, but I don't think that's until like.
Yeah, I mean, Kane, you and I both can do detect magic, right?
Yes, yes, I can. Once daily, racially.
All right. Well, I imagine it's probably going to be the only net on the island from what we've heard, and probably also going to be pretty much the only magical thing.
Detect magic is quite limited, though. It's very short range, and on top of that, you essentially it has to be plainly within view, and you can detect
Yeah,
whether
because
or not something is magical. But it's very difficult to find something that's magical if it's hidden.
Yeah, locate object is pretty limited too.
Locate object would be somewhat limited, but it is still 1,000 feet. And locate creature similarly is 1,000 feet.
How big across is this island again?
The island that you are on currently is approximately a mile and a half by 2 miles.
Okay.
I mean, there is the option of we set Molly. We meet. We go to the middle of the island. We set Molly up with detect magic and Fiona with detect magic, and then activate it and run as fast as they can, hoping to see something for 10 minutes. But
Well,
not
it's
not a very great option.
Well, I mean, it's also I can cast it ritually, so I can do it more than once.
Always forget that Molly can do ritual casting.
I
Mm-hmm.
know it's delightful, isn't it?
So incredibly useful.
I mean, I feel like you're, kind of joking, but it really has been great.
Yeah, it is. No, it's very useful being able to ritual cast a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, I take advantage of that all the time. Definitely one should. I mean, that's what it's there for. It's to be able to spam use some of these utility spells as much as possible. Take advantage, please. In many respects, finding this net is going to be a bit of a puzzle. And yeah, I mean, I've made the other three objects, the spear. I literally told you where it is. And then with the club, it took a little bit of work. And then granted, there was a TPK getting the bow, but, magic. But, yeah, this one's going to be a little tougher. You got to actually find this thing. It's a bit of a puzzle, which I think is fair.
Did my flock of familiar gulls speak?
They did get to the island, but they did not find him. Yeah, they went
Did
off sort of south and east and also west. They were able to
did any
find.
crabs hit me up?
No, no one seems to really have seen him specifically. At least these animals did not. The crabs, knowing that the bounty is still in place, have still not taken advantage. But your gulls, one did get to an island to the west, one to the south, one to the east, excuse me, and they did not report seeing him. They did report to the west finding a town, and then to the east, it's pretty much deserted, and to the south, they found just a couple of fishermen, basically. They didn't find much in terms of civilization to the east nor to the south, but they did find a small town to the west.
Well, I can tell you guys that there's a small town to the south. Well, fishermen, but not a lot. There's to the east. There's a little bit.
West.
Or yeah, to the west. There's a little bit more of a civilization, but to the east, there's not really any.
And they weren't able to fully explore the islands. Of course, you only had them for half an hour, meaning that within that, or what was it, half an hour? Is that correct? Or an hour?
Yeah, they last for an hour.
In lasting for an hour, they had 5 miles that they could go, and from where you were, it was pretty close to 2 miles to the west. So they were able to fly around a little bit more, do some circling and some patterning. They weren't able to find much on that sort of western island. They did find, again, a lot more sort of civilization. To the south, they did find some more. To the east, that island, it's not too occupied. I mean, there's a couple of like little homesteads, but it was mostly farms, oddly enough, to the east. If it was able to fully explore it with the full hour, and then of course
I
when
have
it
a
came
question.
back, it was poof. It didn't fly back. Yes, Molly.
We don't have anything from this guy, do we? Not anything like if I summoned an animal, it could track him.
I don't think you do.
No, because I remember we discussed that. Because excuse me, my favorite prey is humans, so I'd get even more bonuses than an animal would to track him. But we don't have anything.
Yeah. If anyone has anything, it might be Lee, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, sorry, he dumped me before I was able to get anything really. I don't even have like a scrap of clothes or anything from the town. I wasn't able to like track down where he lived, so I really just don't feel like I have anything to help out with this.
Yeah, at this point, unfortunately, I feel like we're just kind of at a stalemate of like we don't really have a good solid direction to go. or any information to go off of.
Well, we know he's a really good swimmer. What I say we do is we just look at Aldrin and say, Aldrin, where would you go? I mean, they're both wild men of the sea, so
Aldrin would probably look out upon the water and make a kind of thinking. And he says, well, maybe, I mean, you could just stay out there forever. You would never have to come in. I can just breathe underwater, and then I can just eat things that I find in the water, and then just stay in the water forever.
And I mean, especially since he has the net.
wisdom.
He could catch whatever down there. He could just stay in the water forever.
Okay. Hey, that's at least good to keep in mind. That's good to know.
It is
I mean,
entirely possible.
That's not actually.
Go on, Beyond.
I just that's not actually a bad idea thought to have.
That he might just be someplace amongst the world's oceans. That it might take forever, if ever, that you might find him, just because he could just be anywhere in the oceans.
Well, that we should like maybe actually check the waters in and around places that we think he might be.
Yeah, Molly's gonna sit down and start preparing to cast water breathing ritually on everybody. Except
Alright.
Aldrin, of course.
You refresh the water breathing, because you had cast it before when you all were kind of basically swimming around. So you can just refresh it. But in your swimming, you don't see him. The crabs have not seen him. Water's fairly clear. I mean, depending on how far off you want to search. It doesn't seem like he's within the immediate area of this town. Or if he is, you haven't found him. You haven't really explored the town too much. You went to a lighthouse that was painted in the style of a red candle. And then you went to the Teal Oyster bar. But beyond that, you haven't really gone anywhere or done anything.
So, should we try detect magic or locate object first?
Well, I don't really think we're gonna get anything else from this island, but I don't know. That's up to you guys at this point.
This is the only clue that you have, is that he might have come here. This is where his mother's family is, and that's all. That's the only clue you have.
I mean, did we ever bring up his actual name or?
I believe it was mentioned once or twice. You're looking for Aiden Marsden. The first is just I'm looking for a man, and then I'm looking for a fisherman, and then I'm looking for a really good fisherman, and then none of it seemed to really catch in. You're looking for a legend, sure, but it's just a big question of whether or not these people knew the legend, or who knows.
Yeah, I think we should try to find his mom.
Yeah, that's what I was just like. Do you think we should basically just walk into town and be like, "Hey, we heard Mama Marsden makes the best cookies in all of the islands, and we wanted to try them." Basically, you know.
Subterfuge. Yeah. You certainly can.
I just know that we were attempting to have an air of subtlety and not name drop if we didn't absolutely have to. So.
Yes, I know, but I think at the same time, I don't think Aldrin kept that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it'll be as likely to tick people off and scare them off if we ask for Mrs. Marsden.
So how do we? I feel like that's the safest bet because we do know, or we have been told at least, that this is the island that he is from, supposedly.
Not
How
necessarily.
did he?
I mean,
What was it that made us think that this is where he was from then?
the specific sentence that was told to Lee, and it's up to Lee whether or not he wants to correct it, I guess, so it's not really my place. But the specific sentence that was told to Lee is that rumor has it that his mother's family is from here. That's it. That it's from this town, the town of Tanya, on the island of Elatos.
Well, I mean, well, I mean that's more.
Oh, that's much better audio.
Well, I mean that's. Can I be heard?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Much clearer audio.
Oh, okay, cool. For some reason, it wasn't lighting up on my end. What was I gonna say? Oh, that's more of a lead than we have any other way. So, how do
Uh,
we want to go about it?
Yonder, would my rustic hospitality help with this in any way?
Potentially, yes.
Cool. I'm gonna what race was Marsden again?
You seem to be a half elf.
What's the race in this area generally? How much diversity and of what races?
There's a fair amount of diversity. You've come across quite a few elves, half elves, a couple of dwarves, an occasional half orc, and a smattering of a couple of other different races, a couple of gnomes. Um, in terms of the different races, seems to be a fairly diverse spread that you've seen. Not as diverse as Terrenia, but pretty diverse.
Is there any chance I can find gnomes in the area that look like they're actually locals?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, maybe. In terms of locals, do you mean like define local? I mean, they live here probably, like not
Yeah,
tourists.
like for people who live on this island.
Maybe. I don't know. You'd have to look for them. I have no idea.
Okay,
I also
I
have the. Oh, sorry.
I mean, there's in terms of a chance of whether or not you could find them. I mean, maybe. I don't. I don't want to say that there's an 80% chance or a 200% chance. Like it's maybe try see what happens.
I also have.
what would that role be?
For your rustic hospitality.
To try to find, well, I guess I'm looking mainly for locals, but I'm gonna try to find somebody who's a gnome. Try to particularly focus on that.
It doesn't really so much take a roll unless you want to roll to see what your character might think. But like if you just go to a place and just look out, you really readily recognize a gnome for the most part. Like it's just a matter of just being there, being in the place. Uh, in terms of where Mollymort as a character might think to go, the inn, maybe like some of the taverns, maybe if they're going
I
to be
mean,
going that way, or maybe they're more farm folk, maybe they're more on their own, in which case you have to look for homesteads, maybe staying near markets, maybe asking people if they've seen your cousin. And when you ask, well, what's their name, be like, they look like me. I mean, come on.
I'm thinking. You said homesteads. I'm gonna go in that direction, or possibly like a town square, if there is that kind of thing, or like a town market.
There do seem to be some. I mean, there are markets, town markets, and there do seem to be storefronts as well. A couple of storefronts that do seem to be currently closed. It's a bit into the evening, um, and you all can, of course, take a long rest and come at it during the day. But right now, it looks like most people are winding down a bit. In terms of storefronts and markets, they all seem to be closed. Shops and everything seems to be quieting down.
Alright, then I guess I'm gonna go in the direction of homestead type things.
Okay, so moving further into the island to see what you see.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to go with her?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. Marching further into the island. Pretty much you only have kind of north or northwest to go towards. South and southeast and southwest being clearly the open ocean. Not so much the ocean, but water, sea. And so from there, any particular sort of direction, kind of north, northeast, northwest. Any preference?
Do I see any more, like, well-worn paths?
Yep, there are roads going. The biggest, they're sort of the primary road seems to be kind of going north by northeast, but there are
Yeah, let's go
paths
with
that
that.
split off kind of northwest. So follow the kind of main road.
Yeah.
All right. It's getting later into the day, and the sun has set. The moon is rising, and some of the stars are out. More and more stars every night. Still not a full sky with the stars, but it's getting there, and that's nice. And as you continue to march along this path, it's surprisingly dark out here. You get further away from the ocean, and it becomes quiet, and there's just this sort of light wisps of grass all around as the wind seems to pick up quite a bit and gusts along, so much so that it even sounds like there's things moving around you. But it's probably just the wind. Probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask to make a check on that because
Sure.
if Theon feels like there's anything moving around, he's gonna check it.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
I'm mainly just looking for people.
All right. So maybe a basic perception check from Molly Mort, and then Fionn, I guess maybe another perception check. I think that's probably the most apt. We basically just be look around, try to see what's going on. That's pretty good. 24.
Yeah.
Yes. And Molly Mort?
For perception, that would be a dirty 20.
Okay. With the perception, you do see, you guys pass a couple of people kind of going about their business. Some of them seem to be rather polite. Tap their, kind of give nods and such, and tap their foreheads.
Can I make like a charisma check or something to find out? Like ask them, "Hey, we're looking for gnomes," and like pick up Molly and be like, "One of these."
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and make a charisma check in that sort of a sense, using Molly Mort as a visual aid. Assuming she's okay with that.
I mean, she's not gonna protest.
I imagine the first time if it's like, oh, like one of these, and he just picks her up and she goes, ooh, and a bit of a surprise.
Does the Molly visual aid give me any sort of bonus, or does it just lower the DC?
It's very unlikely that the having an example of what a gnome is will make much of a difference. And in fact, the perhaps crude nature in which you treat gnomes akin to action figures may actually be like he carries a gnome around just for display. Like it's anyway, but it's likely to not be much of a bonus.
Well, if it means anything, I'm not rough with Molly Ward. I'm very careful.
Well, understood completely, but still, it's a bit, for most folk, as they're just walking down the road, you're just like, hey, do you have one of these or any of these? And you just like pick up a gnome. Like, hey, are any more gnomes around like this one? It's a bit strange for the average person to walk into that. But
Okay.
anyway, so yeah, Lee, your persuasion does not seem to go anywhere. With a 24 Fion, you are able to determine that, and there are certainly a couple of animals running around, smaller things, of rabbit size, but most of the quick gusts and things do seem to be just wind, powerful wind that's just whipping across, coming from, well, the sun-cooked seas, and then also these treeless, in some cases, or lightly treed islands. It just a recipe for lots of wind, and it's probably the two different ones. So, rather, as the sun goes down, the one part of the area cools down quickly, the water cooling down quickly, while the land does not. Just creates a pressure difference and causes a lot of wind. Probably not too soon, or not too long after sunset. But anyway, seems like it's just intense wind. But you do see individuals, but they do seem, for the most part, um, reluctant to answer Lee's request of if they have seen gnomes. You do get some responses of, I mean, yeah, I've seen a gnome before, and then a couple that just kind of ignore it. But other than that, most people seem to be fairly nice.
You need to return this gnome to the other gnomes. Can you tell me where the gnomes are? What is that, a deception? I don't know if that's
Yeah.
necessarily untrue, because I'm not really lying about it. I do need to return this gnome to the other gnomes.
Yes, but it's just a question of whether or not you're returning it. Like, is it your intention to find them only to return her? No, that's a deception.
Okay, so I'm misleading. So that's still a deception. I don't think I have a very good deception.
Yeah, it's difficult to make specific rules or calls on half truths and things like that, but sometimes I can go by the worst standard, or the most specific or the widest standard, I guess you could say, in that a non-deception is something which is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which this is not.
That makes sense to me. Uh, okay. Well, that's the same as my last roll, so
Cool. Was it the same?
they're both +3. Or did you want me to roll again?
Well, you didn't roll. You made a persuasion. Like were trying to. It wasn't so much a deception. You were just trying to. It was a general sort of charisma check. Like, hey, have you seen one of these? That's not a deception. So
Okay. This is me trying a new tactic.
yeah, I mean, there's multiple people. You tried one way, didn't seem to work. Now you're trying another way. Just alienating everyone you find.
He's bad at lying. I mean, honestly, it makes sense with what he said. He's like, we need to return this to the other gnomes.
One concerned elven woman asks you, Alimord, "Are you safe? Are these people being nice to you?"
She sighs and says, like, yeah, we're just a little bit lost on this island. I'm with them. It's just an odd arrangement. You seem nice. You wouldn't happen to know where Miss Aiden was?
Aiden Marsden.
Marsden. You wouldn't happen to know where Miss Marsden is, would you?
Marsden. Let's see if she knows where Miss Marsden is. I don't know. I've lived here for quite a while. I don't think I've ever met anyone named Marsden before.
Oh, okay. So then I guess you don't know Aiden Marsden.
She
Okay,
shakes her
thank
head.
you.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you anyways. I appreciate your concern. Have a nice night.
Good night. And she continues to walk along her way. She seems to be carrying a bucket. just kind of whistling as she goes.
What's in her
Um,
bucket?
You want to get close enough to look?
does it seems to be at all heavy?
Yes.
I'm gonna turn around and start, following her and gesture for everybody else to go because it's getting late anyway. So I think we should, call it a night. And I'm gonna ask, do you need help with that?
No. I've got it. Thank you, though.
Oh, okay. You sure?
Yeah,
We
I'm fine. Very, very nice of you. Very kind of you. I mean, you're new here, I guess.
uh yeah, we actually came here looking for the Marsdens. So
Oh, I
I
see. That's
guess
unfortunate.
yeah, we'll have to spread out a bit, look at the other islands. Why, do you not get many new folks around here? Is there a lot of locals, a lot of traders? What's kind of the makeup of this island?
Well, we do get some, but most of them kind of just stay over there in Tanya for the most part. They don't usually come this far out into the island. I'm assuming you guys have been walking for a little bit.
Yeah.
And she says, yeah, they usually just kind of stay on the edge. There's not much to see or do out here if you're not working, so she shrugs. And she's kind of holding this bucket that's sloshing back and forth a little bit with both hands now, kind of in front of her while talking.
I'm gonna gesture to Fion actually rather than Lee to offer to take the bucket for her. Fion, do you have disguised cell phone at the moment?
No, I used it earlier today. I only get it once a day.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of stick out, so we kind of there's not much point to staying in the crowds.
You're saying this to her, or?
Yeah.
She says, oh, okay, I guess. Yeah, I wouldn't know much about that. She shrugs. And she says, well, um, good luck, I guess. And she kind of starts to go about her business again.
Thanks. We're kind of going in the same direction now, I think, because, I mean, it's late. We gotta get back to someplace.
You just start following her again? Or following her now?
Kinda, yeah.
She just starts to go a little bit faster. She's looking over her
Oh.
shoulder.
Oh, I won't try to chase her then. I'm not gonna follow her to that, extent.
Yeah, she randomly has conversation with people on the road that were going the opposite direction, and then they all of a sudden start following her. It's a bit strange.
I mean, she told us she hasn't heard about the eight, them, and
Mm-hmm.
she's lived here a while, so that in Molly's mind kind of confirms that they're not here. So there's no point in hiking over that far. They might as well get back to the docks.
And that's fair. I'm just telling you what from her point of view. She's speeding up a little faster. All right. So, a relaxing walk back to town then.
Yeah, Molly might kind of purposefully make sure to go slow enough so that she doesn't creep the poor woman out.
That's fair. Would anyone else like to do anything while out in the wilderness for a little bit? Look for anything?
Not really.
Ask anyone of anything?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we should ask someone on this island, but I did have the thought, like, what? I feel like we should ask someone who might know the question: where could we go to find like an index of a phone book? Where could we go to find a medieval version of a phone book and maybe get in contact with like a registry of names, like I don't know. I can't find the right words for what I'm thinking.
Like a
Lee
housing log kind of thing.
Lee can tell you the answer to
Yes.
that. Maybe. Maybe not.
Yes.
Well, okay, maybe not Lee then. But
What do I know?
you know, having been loosely aligned with government, that there's one thing that all governments have in common, a necessity of their existence. It is as inevitable as death.
As this government.
Pardon?
As this government, yes.
I'm confused. Anyway,
I'm making an Oath of the Crown joke.
okay. Yeah, I didn't hear it.
That's fine. It doesn't. It wasn't funny. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So basically, like a tax log, if I'm getting understanding.
If there's a governing body, they got to have taxes, and they got to know who's paying taxes and who's paid how many taxes. If there's anyone that has a record of individuals, it would be any sort of governing body, and it would be because of taxes, because that is a necessity of governing is taxes in some respect. That's sort of universal. At least it would be something that would be common to cities. If you want to find out if there's someone here or somewhere, someplace.
Well, should we call it a night first and start that first thing in the morning?
I don't know. I want to grab a random passerby and start shaking him and say, "Take me to your leader."
Okay. Any particular passerby or anyone in terms of racial or gender persuasion?
I'm just joking.
Okay. I mean, I was going to lean into it. That's fine. I don't mind.
I mean, we can do this. Next person that I see that comes by,
Okay. Next
big
person then
beefy
you
half
see.
orc.
I'm sorry, specifically a half orc?
No, I was just joking.
Okay. I mean, I'm just asking, you know.
Yeah, next person that comes by, sure.
Okay. Let's see. Below a 3, above a 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next person that happens to be walking from town, they've got a bundle of some kind atop one shoulder. Welcome, Aladrin.
Hello.
Hold on.
They've got a bundle atop one shoulder. And they seem to just be minding their own business, swaying a bit and singing something. Oh, that's sad.
Darn.
Yeah, swaying a bit and singing something about salt in the lungs and salt in the heart, and how it makes them a salty old fart. But anyway,
So what I'm getting from this is they'll never see it coming.
I mean, they seem entirely oblivious to all but the path in front of them and their life behind them. And they do acknowledge and nod and continue to swing along and sway and sing as they go about their business.
They do what I promise, and I grab them by the shoulders and say, "Take me to your leader."
In terms of grab, are we talking like a full grapple, or are we talking about placing your hands upon?
Well, I meant like placing my hands on their shoulder.
Okay, so you just go up and, you know, like a hey brother, kind of put your hand on their shoulders, and
No, I fully intend to do it. Like, I guess more feverishly, whatever the word is.
For
Like both hands looking them in the eyes and
Yeah,
not gripping them, but
yeah, not like. I mean, like if you want to call it a grapple, we can call it a grapple, but I don't think it's quite a grapple.
okay, I'm just asking if you wanted it to have any sort of mechanical effect, or if you're just getting in their way.
I guess just mostly getting in their way.
They do have one package upon the top of their shoulder, on their left shoulder, with their left hand sort of supporting it as they.
Okay. Well,
But if you jump right kind of in front of them, and so that the package is going above you, they are taller than you, by the way, then you can put yourself between them and the open road and demand that that you, or rather you demand that they take you to their leader.
I guess I'll put my hand on their open shoulder then.
Okay. One hand on their open shoulder, reaching up, put it onto their rough spun fabric covered right shoulder with a bit of a cloak on it. Bit of a half cloak, really. Barely
by
enough
the
to keep the
way,
rain out. Yes, Molly? What?
I am absolutely making a note of that song.
It seems to be that it has multiple different sections to it. He just happens to be on that one. That's all.
Okay, still.
Yeah, it's likely that it's a more improvised kind of a pub song where it just goes around as anyway. But yes,
Still. She makes note of the tune at least.
got it. Lee can jump out and accost this individual,
Well,
and
hiding.
huh?
I wasn't exactly hiding, and if Lee is anything, he is obvious.
Bursting forward with a burst, I guess, of strength and surprise. Yeah, Lee.
Steel and, well, shaking, clinking noises.
Exactly. Although, if I recall correctly, you took off your armor to swim and everything.
True. That's true, I did. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah. Appearing without armor and asking, pleading, demanding that they take you. Now, you can see Jacob going, no, don't.
At this point, I've tried persuasion, deception, and I'm ready to try intimidation.
Okay, roll an intimidation check.
Do I get any sort of advantage because of the surprise?
I will give you advantage because A, surprised, and B, there's a bunch of you. It's a fair intimidation booster.
Oh, there's a 12. Let's see if I roll better the next time.
Fingers crossed.
Dirty 20?
All right, dirty 20 is certainly sufficient. And he looks a bit surprised, and he emits a gruff sort of rumble. And quickly, Jacob begins yelling, "Salim, Salim! Ak, Salim!" Hands up towards the fellow. Which, let's see, Fion. Anyone else speak Dragonborn? Or not Dragonborn, but Draconic?
Nope.
Ormus does.
Okay. Fion and Oramus. And Aldrin, you speak Draconic?
Yeah, he got it when he became a sorcerer.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So you recognize the Draconic word for peace, health and peace. And Jacob's form of a transformed Dragonborn peels away the out of proportion, exaggerated half-elf form that he takes that is just slightly short of the other side of the uncanny valley that just makes you feel a little creepy looking at him every single time. Peels away becoming a sort of typical bronze dragonborn, and he's claws up towards this individual who seems to be growling and snorting and a bit surprised, but taken aback, and is almost becoming into a kind of defensive stance with package still held in the left, but the right hand coming up as if to attack Lee, but not attacking.
Molly is going to use Minor Illusion to try to make herself look like a Dragonborn too, but it might turn out to look more like a kobold because of her size.
I fully support this. Do you? Because you could technically, with Minor Illusion, you could just create like a full size you, but it would be essentially like a cardboard cutout, like a full size Dragonborn in front of you.
Nah, it's just gonna be like an image over her.
Well, yeah,
So
I mean,
it's just
but
gonna
in
be her
that sort
size.
of okay, that's fine. You just create this image over you of what essentially ends up looking like, essentially a pygmy Dragonborn akin to a kobold, but more Dragonborn in sort of style and proportion. And the facade peels away from this individual, revealing a green-scaled Dragonborn. And
Oh,
he hisses while backing up, and a little snake-like forked tongue kind of sticks out a bit.
well, I didn't. This is a surprise.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
crazy world.
Uh, can you help us out? We seriously need help. I've tried everything.
Nada, he says, which is a highly accented question of, like, what is this? Why is this? Asking you all, presumably, why a bunch of Dragonborn are randomly accosting this person on the road and demanding to speak to their leader.
Oh, I'm not a dragonborn. I'm just with the dragons.
Yeah.
Well,
Theon,
you didn't
like,
understand that, Lee. But anyway, if you would,
Yeah, Theon kind of struggles for a bit trying to find the words because he hasn't had a chance to use conversational dragon or draconic in a bit.
And of course, it's a very simple language. It conveys ideas in a sense. Like it's
I'm speaking draconic.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know.
Hmm?
I didn't know he was speaking draconic. I
Yeah.
thought he just had a really heavy accent.
No, he's speaking Draconic.
Yeah,
But
okay.
Draconic is a language. It's sort of how to put it? It has more like pictogram sort of aspects to it. I'm trying to think of a way of doing it. It's like language by categories. Well, okay, that's not a bad example, but basically it is very, very basic, very simple. There are very few words about Draconic. Now, do you understand like Newspeak?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, Newspeak, the concept of language from 1984 of Newspeak is essentially to get rid of all these extra words that you don't need. You don't have to say that something is exceptionally, tremendously wonderful. You can just say good plus. Or something's good, well, this is good plus, or double good plus, or double plus good. Like this is there. You could use plus for something that's extra instead of very, and blah blah blah, and you could just have good instead of all those other words. And you don't need all that other stuff. And this, you just very simplified words.
So it's like kind of a primitive language, maybe?
In a sense.
It makes me think of that one episode of The Office where Kevin just decided to not use clunky words. Why do many word when few word do good?
Kind of, yeah. But of course, those are translations of sort of an English way of putting it. In a sense that, like when you translate, English has an odd sort of flow to it, and common in this sense is akin to English, and so it tends to have a much more overbuilt flow to it. We have a lot of words, but they do not have a lot of words. And so it seems broken from a language perspective. But if you look at it from their perspective, we waste time with all these extra things. We're not conveying any extra ideas by, it's just superfluous tongue movement. There's no reason for it.
Okay. Well, because Lee doesn't understand what's going on, he picks up Molly again and he says, "Gnome, take us to the gnome."
You picked up this small kobold-like creature. Mollymort, what did you transform in terms of color? What did you go into?
What color is this guy again?
This guy revealed himself as green, but he revealed himself kind of after you revealed yourself after Jacob revealed himself. Jacob is kind of copper. Or no, excuse me, he is bronze? Yeah, he's bronze. And so you could reveal yourself if you want to wait and reveal yourself until after he did. But I thought you had revealed it when Jacob revealed it.
I think she picked up on the hint that he was Dragonborn when he dropped his own disguise. But this is gonna be risky, but I think she's gonna have to be blue.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so Lee, you in reaching for Mollymort to exhibit gnomes, looking for gnomes, you find instead this very small blue dragonborn.
It's dark and Lee is upset and just like, "I need answers now. We're not getting anywhere." So he doesn't even notice that Molly
Yeah,
is
I mean, in terms of what the hands tell you, I mean, she still feels like Mollymort. She doesn't feel like not to get insulted at any of those lizardkin. It's their scales feel differently than skin and cloth, and she feels like skin and cloth.
don't like look at her. I just kind of grab her and I put her up in front of me like, "Gnome."
He is even more confused.
Well, I'm confused at this point. Is Aiden a gnome?
Nope.
Why
No.
is it we're looking for gnome?
I don't know. Ask Molly.
Cause I figured have more progress in a conversation with the gnome than trying to find Aiden or his mom. And Lee took that a little bit too far.
Well, I wanted him to take me to their leader, but then he turned into a dragonborn, and I already know the leader of the dragonborns, Bahamut. So now I want him to take me to the gnomes.
So Lee is holding a transformed Mollymort, saying "Gnomes, gnomes," while Jacob is trying to say, "We're looking for someone. We just need help. We don't mean any trouble. We're sorry for bothering you." And this guy is just really confused, and he's backing further off the path with his bundle tightly held over his left shoulder. It's sort of a long bundle that's wrapped in kind of canvas. Not tied off, merely wrapped. But he is trying to defend himself, seemingly. He's got one claw out, almost defensively, while the package is held sort of horizontal or, how to say, perpendicular to your your line of sight, so that it's essentially as behind him as much as he can, so that his hand is out front. Like he's protecting it and himself.
Can I try to figure out what it is? What's in the bundle?
Sure. Maybe maybe a perception or an insight or investigation, maybe.
Cast detect magic.
Okay.
I put Molly down.
I will say before you cast the text magic, this does not appear to be a net. If you're thinking that.
No, it's just it was just very coincidental that he was so defensive over it. Even now that we're trying to explain, it would mean no harm.
Okay.
I put Molly down, and Lee just throws his hands in the air and turns around and starts to walk off.
Lee abandons the cause.
I only rolled a 12.
Okay. And Fionn?
Or for detect magic, it should just be.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were rolling in detect magic or just detect magic. And Aldrin, you are there. Would you like to do anything with this information?
Does it look like a weapon that he's protecting, or is it just a long object?
It's tough to tell. It's a long object wrapped in some kind of a canvas. If you want to roll maybe an investigation or a perception to try and see if you can discern more, you can. Mollymore got a 12. We'll get to her results if you roll.
I'm pretty sure it's a party sub.
Could be. Yeah, it'd be a heck of a long party sub, but could be.
Like a party sub. It's not for one guy.
Well, I don't know.
If it is a weapon, he's not trying to use it as one.
Yeah, he does not seem to be
Yeah.
using it as a weapon at all.
Mr. Ford, is he wrathful?
That is a 21.
Okay. Now I'm going to allow that there's enough moonlight that you can still see with your dark visions. Technically speaking, it being dark enough and empty enough for something like this, I should put disadvantage even with dark vision, because it essentially, I'm counting this as dim light, which I'll allow as being close enough right at the edge of the point where you would need to look basically further. Mollymort, you can tell that it's some kind of a bundle as he's quickly moving and backing away. The canvas wrap seems to be opening a little bit. You can't quite tell what's within it. Some sort of maybe a spear or a staff or something. You're not quite sure. Aldrin, you recognize that immediately. That's a fishing pole.
Oh, okay.
It seems to be either multiple fishing poles or sectioned fishing pole. It looks like a fishing pole that in multiple sections has been wrapped in canvas. It could be that there are multiple poles in there that are wrapped, or a disassembled pole that's just really, really, really long, or multiple disassembled poles, but looks like fishing poles.
Okay.
Well, we know Bahamut made a net, but did Bahamut also make a giant fishing pole we could use to fight Tiamat?
It seems appropriate to me that Aladrin is the one to spy a fishing pole from like a mile away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do anything with it. These two, or Liam Molly, seem to have it relatively under control.
Oh, this is all Jacob right now.
This fellow seems to be getting the hint that common is being spoken. These are my poles. They're not yours.
Molly nods. It's fine. They're your poles, okay.
I don't know. Leader. I don't have. I mean, I have, but I'm not a leader. I don't know. Strange kobold gnome.
Molly looks
Wait.
up at Jacob.
Jacob says, I think he's very confused.
Yeah, I'm a little confused too.
I kind of like the idea that Molly didn't intentionally turn into a kobold. I think she just did it by reflex.
I mean, she did her best to look kind of dragonborn-ish,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it just
yeah.
came out more koboldish.
Yeah, you definitely look dragonborn, but you're in the proportion of kind of a gnome. And you look like a dragonborn for sure, but at the same time, at first glance, a little koboldy. But either way, he does not seem to know this kind of gnome. And Jacob's like, do we need to ask him anything, or?
No, I just got upset because we haven't gotten any leads. We should apologize to him and send him on his way. Or I should apologize and send him on his way. Unless if you have some.
Well, I noticed that he said that he's got a fishing pole. Our previous information gathering says that there weren't really any fishers on this island. Also, he muttered, uh, I mean, I have a leader. I'm not a leader. I don't really know what the. So,
Yeah, take us to your fisherman leader.
I don't have a fisherman leader.
Molly will just say, looking for nets, not poles.
He, um, he just sort of squints a little bit, more confused. Shakes his head a little bit. I don't have much money either.
At this point, I think Lee is gonna like pull out like a gold or something and just kind of slip it into his hand and be like, "I'm really sorry. I'm just having a hard time lately. Please, please just forget that this happened. I'm embarrassed. We're all embarrassed."
He looks at the coin, and then he kind of inches forward again and hands it back to you.
Thank you. You can go if you want.
Molly will try handing him a couple coins.
And he kind of holds up a hand and says, "It's fine. I don't need much money."
Molly nods and grins at that. She can respect that.
He is like basically kind of circumnavigating you all, just circling, keeping the bundle of poles back and keeping distance, keeping a clawed hand between the bulk of the group and himself, as he's just trying to get going off road to try and get back onto the road on the other side of you all.
Yeah, Lee is already down the hill. He's not playing like the edging game. He just walks right off.
Yeah, I think we can go.
All right, continuing your march towards town. He goes, and Jacob gives him another apology in Draconic, and just continues on. You can see that Jacob doesn't actually transform back. He stays his own Dragonborn self for a little bit. You don't know if it's just takes him some time to get back into it, or you don't know if he's just enjoying the feel of. You don't know if there's something that's different about being in one state or another, but you don't see him hanging around as a Dragonborn very often. But he just seems to be walking along as one this time.
Molly is going to ask him, like, did you know he was a Dragonborn because of the growling, or do you, like, have a sense for that kind of thing?
He says, I've got a lot more of a sense of it. I got a lot of help with that and hope. There's a lot of Dragonborns there, and I couldn't really tell one for the other. But do you remember the inn that we stayed at right before we got into the town? It was kind of a horse stable. The Horse's Hall. Do you remember it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
Where are
really.
you going with this?
Well, it was run. It was the one that had the gnome that was there, Mara.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, the keeper of the inn and the guy working in the barn were both Dragonborns. And they could tell I was a Dragonborn, but I couldn't tell they were one. And when we were there for a while alone, I went back and talked with them, and they helped me be able to see through the forms, to be able to see the sort of aura of the dragon, to be able to tell who is a Dragonborn, who is a dragon, and also be able to see their true colors and forms that go past the transformation that we make when we hide.
That's really cool.
I feel like I should ask. What do you see when you see Aldrin?
He looks over at Aladrin, and he says, I think I see the same thing you all see.
Big buff elf.
Okay.
A big, powerful elf.
Molly's going to like scoot up closer to him and kind of speak in a hushed tone. The bard there. He wasn't a dragonborn, was he?
Bard?
The bard, the Thrumal.
Oh, no, Thrumal was at the Pilgrim and Purse. It's
Right,
a different inn.
okay.
Yeah, no, Thrumal's just a dwarf. I mean, not just a dwarf, but a dwarf.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
He nods. Yeah, but he says, Willem, he really helped me out. Anyway.
That's good.
Yep, he nods. Mark says, yeah, I can't see him at all. I tried. I just couldn't see it. I think it's something dragon blood thing. I mean, I don't have enough of it, I guess.
This is an interesting concept that I didn't think that we would need to bring up with Bahamut. But now I'm curious. Just the whole thing of, like, apparently needing a certain amount of dragon blood. Like, the balance of I guess, how far removed you are from dragon blood ancestry.
Well, dragons
I say it with a
themselves.
question mark.
Yeah, dragons themselves are pure elemental magic. And the further you get from Asgaroth, the more the power is diluted with other elements of the material plane. And so Tiamat and Bahamut, being one step from Asgaroth, are incredibly powerful. But Tiamat's offspring, being another step, were weaker. And those that kept within their spawn maintained a level similar to what Tiamat had given them. So full dragons that reproduced with only other full dragons kind of kept at that sort of dragon level of power in terms of separation and the imbuing of other planes or the material plane. And then when you have situations where crossbreed after crossbreed after crossbreed after crossbreed, you're only, where before you were 50% dragon or etc. Now you're 1 in 500% dragon, or 1 in 500th dragon, which is 1 in 500th power.
So what's the deal with kobolds then? Are they like dragonkin?
Yeah, they are, but luckily they're so strangely diluted that they don't have a lot of the magic, but they do still have some of the elemental power. And I don't know if they look like that because of the dragons, or if they look like that because whatever a dragon did to something that looked like that, but they seem to be lizards that have some draconic connection, but they're not like us, as Jacob points to himself, or like you guys, as he points to like Mark and Aladrin, and then to you, Molly Mort, where you have some draconic connection that gives you some connection of power, but not so draconic that it actually displays itself. At which point Mark says, "Speak for yourself," and then belches flame. But Jacob just like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I see it. I think. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know.
That's neat.
He nods.
Well, I'm glad you had somebody come along to help teach you.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to learn that.
Jacob, if you're supposed to get weaker the more diluted your blood is, how do you explain Aldrin?
He is an anomaly. Always is.
Is he like the culmination of like dragon blood coming together in him to like express some sort of crazy latent power?
Well, dragons aren't the most powerful or all the power. They bring a lot of elemental power, and Aladrin brings a whole different other kind of power. Like, I can breathe lightning and Mark can throw fire. And yes, Aladrin does some stuff with lightning and breathing underwater and such, but he does a lot more other things. And obviously the source of his power is a bit beyond what ours is.
Say that again. Holy crap.
I mean,
Anyway.
all of your powers. I mean, Lee, you
Yeah.
hit things with a hammer and cause them to explode. You
Oh,
hum. I don't know if you know this, but there's a constant hum around you.
Well, that wasn't just me.
Actually, yes, it is just you. As in, it's you doing the humming.
Oh, can you all hear that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll
Fiona
take out.
That was.
takes his pinky and cleans his.
I take out my earphone.
I kind of just thought there was a big mosquito around.
Fiona just looks at him like thinking about the possibility of what he just said being true. There being a mosquito that big, just from a ranger's nature standpoint, and it's just like, ah,
He's full with bugs, just like I am, so he also shivers.
I wonder if I can make that happen.
You have a giant insect, don't you?
Yes.
Oh God, what have you done,
Fiona
Alvin?
grunts uncomfortably.
How big is a giant mosquito? Can they be used as a mount?
Oh no, what have we done?
Coming in the
Only
opposite
one way to find out.
coming in the opposite direction, you see a carriage coming along the road. The road is not quite wide enough for the group of adventurers walking arm in arm, so to speak. And the carriage. Are you guys gonna get out of the way, or are you gonna make it get out of the way?
Absolutely. I'm gonna get out of the way. That would be rude.
Yeah, I'll step to the side.
All right. Stepping to the side, the carriage passes by.
So Aladrin, this spell, I'm not sure how well it'll do with a mosquito, but I can make a giant wasp.
I think that's arguably worse.
Well,
Mosquito, the bite just itches for a while.
I mean, as a mount, that would be pretty awesome, don't you think?
I think so too.
The idea
just-
of Aldrin riding a giant wasp into battle to Led Zeppelin. Oh God, why did I suddenly blank on the name of the song? We come from the land of the ice and the snow.
Oh god, I'll go to the jungle.
What's
No,
that?
No, that's not it.
I know the song you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Ah.
The trees?
Trees.
Anyway,
That's you're thinking of the right one, Fiona. The
Yeah, I just can't think of the name. Immigrant Song. That's it.
Mm.
anyway,
Can I look at this carriage you said as it passes?
absolutely. Looking for anything in particular?
Just kind of looking for like an indication of how wealthy these people might be, and if I can look to see if who's in there.
I'm specifically looking for gnomes and leaders.
It looks to be a bit of a cargo kind of container. And looking at it in terms of wealth, it does look like that it has a good deal of wealth, but the primary indicator of that is the strength of this thing. It appears to have not so much an armored compartment, but fairly armored. Well locked, no windows on the compartment, and it has a logo of, it looks like a kind of like a drop of water with perhaps a flame on it, some sort of burning drop of liquid.
Like not water, but possibly like oil or gasoline.
I've, I mean, I don't think your characters would recognize that, but it's a logo that has like the clear kind of raindrop, droplet, circular, with tail kind of look to it, like a teardrop kind of shape, and then it also has what looks like the sort of random-esque spikiness of your fire. It looks like a raindrop that's on fire.
Oh yeah, that's metal.
This is peculiar to Molly.
But that is
Yeah,
the logo
like,
which
I
is
don't.
on the side, and there are two individuals up front.
Are they gnomes?
No.
Damn.
Well, actually, let's find out. Let's see here. As luck would have it, one is a dwarf, and yes, one is a gnome.
Oh, nice. What is the carriage being pulled by? Horses?
Yeah.
I was hoping for giant goats.
I apologize.
Okay.
They look to be both women, if it matters.
Okay.
Not the horses. I mean, let's check to see if the
Oh,
horses
okay.
are.
The horses also different?
On the horses, one is a male, one is a female. Two horses.
Molly is going to hop up on Fion's shoulders and like wave her hands dramatically to try to get their attention because these people seem interesting.
Do you wave your hand to stop them before they approach and pass, or
Like as they're passing.
okay?
Well, I real quick have a question. Would it be worth it to attempt some sort of check to see if maybe I can recognize that symbol or
Sure.
maybe what purpose they would have on this island?
Yeah, go for it. Make a some sort of intelligence or history check.
Hey, we found a gnome. Molly, look.
Molly definitely notices.
Because of nope, never mind. That is not correct. I just get that as a normal.
Can I hail the carriage? I know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Molly would have dropped her kobold illusion by now, by the way.
That's a 9.
It looks familiar, but you don't remember where you've seen it. But yeah, I assume that you had dropped the illusion. Lee, by what manner would you like to hail this?
I don't know the proper manner, but whatever the like standard manner from Bakata is, like maybe a hand up, kind of in a open palm gesture, like hail, like hey, stop.
Yeah, generally something along the lines of, halt is
Yeah,
pretty typical.
that's a totally guard thing to do. So yeah, I'll just step forward and I'll say halt, and then I'll say license and registration, please. And then he shakes his head and he's like, wait, no, I'm not doing that right now.
Okay. You yell halt into the night, and Molly Moritz waving her arms, and Lee is stepping into the road, unarmored, arm being raised in a authoritative measure. Lee, roll. Let's go with. I mean, this is kind of intimidating in a sense.
Is this? I feel like this would be specifically a charisma thing that I'm proficient with.
Yeah, I would definitely say you're proficient in it. Let's just call it a guarding skill, where you're just add your charisma and your proficiency.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a persuasion or an intimidation, but it's certainly a combination of the both.
While that roll is happening, can I whisper to Molly, "Hey, that symbol looks familiar. Do you recognize it?" And like, I don't know if that would do anything.
Leah's good at this.
Lee is very good at this.
He just falls back into old habits.
He does.
Can Molly try to recognize the symbol?
Absolutely. Although, yeah, okay, yeah, you can try to recognize it. It hasn't. It's on the side of the carriage. Technically, I was on the assumption that you saw it after it went by, but you can attempt to see what little of it you can as it's approaching. Sure, I'll grant that.
What roll was that again? Oh, I got a nat 20.
There you go. You saw this on one of the buildings in town. Because if you recall, a lot of the buildings, they didn't so much have names on a lot of them, but they did have kind of basic symbols, including on one that was a kind of a red painted candle looking thing on the lighthouse that turned out to be some kind of a tavern. But you did see this painted on one of the warehouses within town.
A warehouse. Okay, yeah, I'll tell Fion that
Well,
it matches
a
a
large building.
warehouse.
Yeah, a large building. In terms of when I say warehouse, I mean like it was a big building.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't want to say that it was necessarily storage or anything. It could be a factory. It could be a it could be a store. It could be a baker. I don't. It was a big building essentially.
All right.
But yeah, you can certainly relay that. But it does come to a bit of a halt, and immediately a crossbow is drawn by the dwarf sitting atop it as the gnome has the reins and really slows it down and pulls it aside.
Lower your weapon.
Molly will go, no, hold on. No, we don't want to have a problem here. We just want to talk. We're from out of town, okay? And you guys seem interesting.
Lee will take that opportunity to snap out and be like, "Oh, sorry, old habits die hard. I'm a guard."
We have a job to do.
Oh, are you in a hurry?
We are not here to answer questions going from one point to another. No one has to get hurt here.
I see.
Aladrin slowly starts taking off his own crossbow.
No, Aladrin. This isn't a fight.
You can see
We're not
a
making it a fight.
slightly shaky crossbow points at Aldrin as he starts to move. Stop it! Stop doing that.
Come on, guys. We're not here to fight.
I've never been robbed before, and I'm not going to get robbed today.
We're not
robbery.
robbing you.
Nope.
I'll even pull out my equivalent of a badge. I always keep on me, and I'll be like, "You might not recognize this, but I am actually a guard."
For who? I don't recognize your company.
Well, it's from very far away. I'm from Bakata. We're kind of on a journey.
We are good with jobs, though, if you need a hand. Or if you would accept a hand, rather.
Well, we just want to know what's going on first. We've been looking for gnomes, and I'll point to our resident gnome Molly, and I'll be like, we just need information. We're not from here.
Also, you look interesting, and I'm curious.
The gnome is a bit confused. She's like, "Are you hiring gnomes or kidnapping gnomes?"
No.
We just want to talk to them because from my understanding, is they generally have a pretty good communication and intel network.
We're part of a group called Blue Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I'm part of an adventuring party right now, but I'm also a guard.
There's a little bit of confusion, and there's some whispering back and forth amongst those two.
Is it possible for me to make a charisma check to make them feel more at ease by just being generally like charming?
Yeah, not really. I mean, you already did a pretty good charisma check. Like it's, right now it's not so much checks. It's just role play it essentially. But they kind of whisper back and forth a little bit, and they say, "Blue Tempest. That's the one over on Savarath, right?" I think I've heard of that.
Maybe. Is that right? Were we on Savarath? Sorry, we've been a lot of places lately. It's hard for me to keep track of.
We travel a lot.
Yeah, to be honest. Look, we're no threat to you. We literally just want to stop and talk.
Or talk as we carry on
Yeah,
and just sticks beside you.
Yeah, we don't need to slow you down. You obviously are going somewhere. We just literally want to talk.
They nod.
Seem like knowledgeable people, and what we are sorely lacking at the moment is knowledge.
You can ask what you want. We're not late yet. If you get
Okay.
any closer, I'm gonna put this bolt right between your eyes.
Please, I would really prefer that you didn't do that, please.
Well, then you better not come closer.
Well, how am I going to talk to you guys? How close am I?
I mean, how far? You're probably 20 feet or so.
It's going to be really hard to talk to you from all the way over there.
That's funny. I can hear you from here. You can hear me. You seem to be talking fine so far.
I'm literally shouting, and we're going to be moving. So, like, come on. Like, seriously, we are no. What can I do to show you that we mean no harm?
You can get out of our way and you can let us go about our business.
Ah, jeez.
I can summon up some horses so we can carry along during this conversation.
Magic doesn't freak you guys out, right?
Oh, this isn't like Bacata, is it?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about magic?
I mean, we don't care about it, but if you're going to use it to rob us, crossbow would work just as well as magic.
Dude, I showed you my badge. We're not going to rob you. If we wanted to rob you, we would have robbed you, but we're not.
We're not robbing you.
That's exactly what a robber would say.
I can't think of what I can do to like diffuse the situation, but I do know that there should be something that like Lee is a charismatic character, and he would have a background in like mediating. So is there anything that maybe you can tell me from the outside that Lee would think of that could help just diffuse the situation?
I mean, I live under the philosophy that the vast majority of the time, if someone is pointing a gun at you, you do what they say. I mean, if somebody is pointing a crossbow at you and saying, don't get closer, it's probably best to not get closer. And if they think that you're a threat, doing the thing that they don't want you to do is probably the worst way to prove that you're not someone that's going to do what you don't want them to do.
That's true. I do remember working at a retail store where they were like, "Hey, if somebody has a weapon or a gun, just do whatever they say." So that makes sense.
Yeah, because in this sort of a sense, look at it from their perspective. They're traveling on some sort of an armed caravan in the middle of the night. Not coming out of nowhere. You got in their way. You got them to stop. They did stop. They, tried to pull up and defend themselves. You're very suspicious. And on top of that, you're like, hey, come on, let us get closer. You don't need that weapon. Just put it down. It'll be fine. Yeah, this is exactly what a robber would say.
I will look directly at them and I will say, "Okay, can we accompany you back to civilized land?"
We're not giving rides.
Huh? Oh no, I'm not. I'm not saying you give us rides. Just go with you so we can talk to you in a more civilized environment where we don't have to point crossbows at each other.
Yeah, Molly's going to look around at all our party members and like, how many horses do we need? Fionn, you probably need a bigger one. Aldrin, you think you're okay with the regular horse? I can bring up some horses.
By the way, how many people seem to be armed on this caravan? Is it just the dwarf?
It's likely that they're both armed, but the dwarf is the only one holding a crossbow at you guys.
Okay.
Would it make them feel better if I let them hold my weapons while we walk?
That means you would have to approach them with your weapon in your hand.
Yeah, let's.
I'm okay, just like tossing it on the ground between us.
Let's just I'm gonna summon up some horses. Let's just carry along beside you, and we can talk. We can talk from our own horses.
Yeah, Allegren, I don't think that's necessary. Like, we just keep the distance between us. If they ask, we respect what they ask, and All I ask is that we
No.
go and talk to you because you seem like you might have information, and we desperately need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can definitely talk in a more civilized, more comfortable environment, and we'll respect your request to give you the space that you need. But
There's some discussion back and forth between the two, quietly. And the gnome says, "How much are you paying for interviews?"
Good question. I cast conjure animals and conjured up some horses for us.
I don't know if Lee would know what that means, but I don't actually know what that means.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
I think Lee would kind of cock his head and be like, "I'm sorry, I just can you rephrase that? I don't quite understand."
He said he wanted to talk to gnomes because whatever. I'm a gnome. You want to talk to me? Fine, but I got a job to do. How much you gonna pay me to take out of my time to talk to you?
I have some very nice rocks if you would like.
Yeah, we can compensate. We can definitely compensate you.
Rocks. You don't have
Yeah, I mean,
coins? I'm
I
not
got some
some
quartz and
forest
agate.
gnome like you, or some rock gnome that's gonna just go all crazy over sparkly rocks. We need money.
Can you show them the rocks and watch their eyes bulge out?
Yeah, excuse me, I'm a forest gnome, and I pull out like I have rock crystal that's worth 40 gold pieces, jasper that's worth 60, agate that's worth 8,
Don't
black
show them
pearl
all.
that's
They're merchants. They're gonna take us for everything.
a black pearl worth 600.
Oh God. I think we might just get conned out of all of our money if we're not careful here.
That's Molly's discreet bargaining piece.
Not so discreet. Uh,
I
so
And they're just still looking at you. Like, all right, rocks. I need money.
We have, how
Something of
about
value. Something that I can spend with.
2 gold? I don't know. I don't spend much money.
2 gold.
5 gold?
you're merchants, right?
5 gold apiece?
You guys are merchants, right?
No, they do not appear to be merchants.
Can
I
I
mean,
tell what
they're armed and armored on an armored caravan. They appear to be guards,
they are? They have a gnomish guard. That's kind of badass. I like that.
or at least a
I never
driver.
expected- Okay.
But she appears to be armored, although probably armed. She's not pointing arms, and the dwarf also armed and are also armored, but also with a crossbow.
Okay, so I would recognize them as being mercenaries, not merchants.
Potentially,
Or rather, not necessarily mercenaries, but hired guards.
as opposed to faithful guards like certain individuals. Yes, most guards are hired guards.
Well, you kind of get what I mean, right? Like not they have well, I don't know if they necessarily have like a steady gig with that, so I guess I wouldn't know. All right.
Yeah, you have no idea if they're a steady gig or not. They do have the same sort of burning droplet icon on their armor, but maybe it's community. Maybe, yeah, who knows?
I'm wondering if my background actually applies here. Would it?
For what?
I'm pulling up my background right now just to check exactly what my feature is because I always forget exactly what it is.
Okay.
In the
I was
meantime,
gonna try and go ahead, Molly.
just in the meantime, I just offered them, yes, 5 gold apiece.
Yeah, and they seem to be kind of thinking about it a little bit. And they say, you can follow us back, and we'll talk to you when we get there. But if you get too close, bolts will fly. Understood?
Cool, it's cool.
I mean, that sounds reasonable. Make sure you're in a safe place before, you're with strange people. I understand that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, we're pretty strange. I'll admit that. My background does not lend me anything to that. I was thinking it did, but it only lends me the ability to find, um, you know, law dens or criminal dens.
Yeah.
All right, then let's ride with you. And Molly hops up onto one of the horses.
All right. Does everyone mount upon the horses?
If there's enough for everybody, sure, but leave, otherwise leave walk.
Yeah, I think I can do enough for everybody.
But is mine a giant goat?
Now, you instantiated the Capricorn last time. Did you change into like a land goat?
No, he's still a Capricorn. I would have to cast a spell again to change the form. I think is a fair.
Do you think you did it before you left town?
Oh, I did not. No, the Capricorn is still out there at the bay.
Okay. So yeah, no goat to ride.
Well, I was talking about Molly summoning.
Yeah, I can do that as long as, Yonder's okay with me mixing that into the group.
And what spell did you use to summon all of these?
Conjure animals. I can conjure up, 4 beasts of rating 1/2 or lower, 8 beasts of rating 1/4 or lower. Riding horse is, rating 1/4. Giant goat is half, AC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like this is going to be a problem. Just give me a regular horse. I'm literally just not that picky about this. Like it doesn't matter.
A war horse is also just a quarter. But like with how many people there are, it might be easiest to just do 4 war horses. I don't know. We got Fion, who's gonna need his own horse. Aladrin.
Anyway, you can get 4 war
Um,
horses.
yeah, will 4 war horses seat everybody? Well, probably not because we got Jacob and Ormus and um Mark with us right now, right?
And also you have your druid friend.
Oh yeah, Adira.
you
Okay, yeah.
cut everybody.
I'll just summon up regular riding horses.
All right, so
So
summon 8 regular riding horses. With
Like,
8,
this feels weird. People ride these things?
with 8 riding horses, let's see. Molly, Lee, Fion, Aladrin, Ormus, Jacob, Mark, and Adira. Yeah, so you have exactly enough to, for everyone to have a horse.
I mean, some of them, I can share one.
Yeah, but you have enough. So, all right. How far behind do you want to follow them? Is giving them a wide berth as they pass. How far behind do you want to follow?
Like 20 feet, 25 feet, like they asked.
So pretty close. I mean, you think they would probably be more comfortable with more room.
Okay, 30 feet? 50 feet. Yeah, as long as we can still see them.
Well, you could see them from a quarter mile away.
50
All right, so you give them about 50 feet. You're still choking on their dust a little bit, but, that's fine.
It's okay. My aura of protection, you just very faintly see like some of the dust part and not hit us in the face as much. I don't know. I don't know if it works that way, but
I think with druid craft or something, I can do a small gust of wind. So would that be enough to, clear our air a bit?
Yeah, I can clear it out a little bit. Help maintain some breathing room.
Oh, Adira, this is your first time riding a horse, isn't it?
Not really. No, I mean I've had
No?
other horses. Yeah.
this is my first time riding a horse.
Oh, I thought since you were you're from a desert, aren't you?
We
Or
have
something
horses
like
in
that?
we have horses in the desert, Molly Mart.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. For some reason, I thought maybe you'd go with camels or something. I don't know. I
What's a
I don't go
camel?
to the desert.
I'm from Bacata. Horses are for eating. This is ridiculous.
Anyway, but after a bit of travel, Not too long, because you had already walked quite a bit of ways and then come back again. You passed the point of where you had spoken to the strange woman. That was also very confused. You've confused a lot of people in this evening. But soon enough, you can see that you're coming towards a lake. As you seem to have gone over the sort of high point of the island and are coming down, you can see a large lake glimmering and gleaming and shining in the moonlight back at you. And it seems that you're going towards some of the structures built around the lake. You can see that it is ringed with several, it's tough to tell scale, but houses for sure, house size things. Some that are very close, some that are a little further off, some that are seemingly bunched together as perhaps small towns or maybe plantations of some kind. And yeah, you seem to be approaching this area.
I cast Fireball.
If only. If only. So, getting closer and closer, you can see this dwarven woman climbing sort of up on the carriage and yelling back towards you all.
Yeah?
You better stay out of town.
Why?
You're kind of outsiders. Just stay out real quick and we'll come meet you.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, we can wait out here. I didn't realize. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can make like a small camp.
If you want to take the time to make a camp, you could. But the question is, do you stop kind of right before the buildings, or you don't see anything like a gate or a sign that indicates town line or anything? So do you just stop before the buildings, or where do you want to stop? Because they seem to be the large road. This is, as I said, you've seen several other like dirt paths and wheel rut paths and trotting paths that go from different sides. But this is actually like a proper road. The road seems to go directly towards this collection of larger collection of buildings that is on the edge of this kind of space. So, how far back do you want to stop?
What do you think? Like 100 feet off the side, 100, 200 feet off the side of, or just kind of off to the side of the road. We just kind of stop, find something to sit on, something like that.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Mm.
I don't know how close we are to the lake still, but
However close you want to be.
yeah, let's just camp out here. Like a football field's length away. Yeah, that's even better. Yeah, we're 100 yards out. Check out.
All right, yeah, 100 yards out is fine.
Yeah, we're off to the side of the road. Maybe we can make like a little campfire or whatever. Sit on some logs or rocks or whatever around. Probably rocks. Doesn't sound like there's a lot of forest.
All right. Settling in, you just kind of want to keep the horses around and just sit and wait? Or did you want to form camp? Or
I mean, like, I just, make it a little comfortable place to stop if we can't enter town. Maybe, make a full camp, I guess.
The horses only last an hour, so might as well keep them around in the meantime. Don't know how long this will take these people.
Oh, we can cook them up in an hour. Come on.
Hmm. I'll at least get a fire going.
Yeah. Do you get some twigs together and then shock it with lightning?
Yeah, I feel like Aladrin, that's just his default way to start a fire. It's just spark it.
you just start sparking it in, and Mark just goes, "Why are you doing that?" And then just points his hand at it, and there's this huge stream of flame that just chars everything within it. And then when it turns off, it's burning again.
That's right, I forgot we had Mark around.
Yeah, but we have the other who's really good at survival.
It's like,
We
look.
have Aladrin that can spark things, and then we have a literal pyromancer.
Yeah, it's like, look,
Yeah.
Aladrin, I respect you. You do a lot of cool things. You're a really cool guy. I don't want to get on your side. That's a problem. But like, I've got like one thing here. So can you let me just okay?
You're better
You
at
know
lighting
that
fires.
that's fair.
Like if it comes to starting fires, just let me handle that. All right.
Yeah.
I'll give Mark a high five because that was pretty awesome.
All right. He gives you a spicy high five.
Hand is still hot.
Yeah. And it settles in and stares at the flames. He starts humming the same song the guy was singing earlier about
Molly
salt.
joins along.
Oh, can we sing the? Are we singing a song?
He's humming it, but you can sing if you like.
Yeah, I'll join in.
Molly will join in and throw in some of the lyrics, at least the ones that she heard the guy singing.
Any particular song that you want to add in? It's sort of like a pretty simple, like 3-stage. It's like a haiku-esque length limerick song kind of deal. It's pretty short.
I'll have to think a moment about that, but Molly would definitely have something about, like, another thing about being at the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a military equivalent song that's like the one they sing when they're like running and stuff? You know the one.
In a sense, yeah, there are similar sort of things. Their cadence songs are a bit different, but the rhythm is a bit different. But you recognize the spirit of the song. This is a very simple song that has a lot of similarities. Again, the words can be anything. It's all about the pattern. It's just about the rhythm.
Okay, I'll start hand boning.
All right.
And
But
we
after
can-
a little bit of time, you can hear and see some dark, shrouded figures approaching through the dense moonlight. As they approach the fire, you recognize the small figures, now adding a cloak over top of their armor, of the gnome and dwarf women.
you guys can come out.
Molly's pulled up her cloak hood too.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I've got my cloak down, everything, have my face exposed.
Everybody got cloaks going.
Yeah, I'm wearing a cloak, but my hood is not up. I have like an open, body language and, posture, and I have my hood down, everything.
Their body language is still guarded. They're still keeping off. The hands are within fabrics. You think they're likely handling the grips of either a crossbow or, although it would be a smaller crossbow than what you had before, perhaps a hand crossbow or maybe a sword or a dagger, something you
Lee
can.
will smile to them and say something along the lines of, so are you guys from around here?
Money first.
Okay. Oh yeah, of course. Molly, do you have anything?
Yeah, Molly tosses them a 10 gold.
Okay, they split it up. You can see that their hands were reluctant to leave whatever comfort that holds of whatever objects that they may have, probably weapons, but they do come out for the gold coins and split it, and they seem to have quite a smile on their faces and a bit of a laugh.
I'll admit we don't normally do things this way, but you know, informants should be paid. It just we just found you across the road, and we're just kind of at our wits' end. We've been asking around, trying to get any information we can.
Yeah, this seems almost shady. Like, this is
Yeah.
weird. We're usually very upfront about things.
Yeah, we're not typically very shady. I mean, I'm literally a guard, so
Yeah, we'll tell you stuff, but we're not gonna help you rob the Zargos if you're trying.
no, of course not.
Who's the Zargos?
Oh, is that the caravan?
The We call them the Zargos. A lot of people call them the Zargos. The people that own the company.
I'll be honest with you. Like we said, we literally know next to nothing.
Yeah, we got here, what, today?
Yeah, honestly, the only reason we picked you out is because she's a gnome, she knows other gnomes, and we really just want to talk to gnomes.
And your cart was interesting.
And your cart was interesting, yeah.
All right.
I mean, I know that makes us sound kind of dumb, but like we really have been just lost. We've been like trying to find leads for a couple days now.
It leads to what?
Well, we're looking for this guy with a net. I know that sounds very vague, but it's a very specific, very special net. But we figured we'd ask you if you knew if there was a population of gnomes on either this island or any of the nearby islands, adjacent islands.
So you're looking for a gnome with a net?
No.
Not a gnome. We're looking for gnomes because, well, frankly, we're outsiders and people don't want to give us information very easily. So,
But paying works, apparently. So, first, seemingly most obvious questions to me. First of all, what were you carrying in the caravan that, needed
We can't
extra
tell you that.
protection?
yeah, honestly,
Gloria spikes in, or not Gloria, but the dwarf spikes in that, we can't tell you what was in it.
and I'll kind of speak up and be like, honestly, like, it's probably of minor importance right now.
True. Also, why was it you didn't want us going into the town with you? It looks nice. I mean, we probably would have wandered in there, if you hadn't been guiding us and told us to hang back.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known.
Well, you're paying us for
Outsiders.
information. Well, you're paying us for information. And if you're paying us to betray them, then we don't want them to see you pay us for that information.
We're not asking you to betray anybody, don't worry.
Uh-huh,
We don't
yeah,
want
sure.
about them. We literally just don't know anything about this island, or these islands. This is a long shot, but do you know Aiden Marsden?
Or any of the Marstons?
Any of them?
Head shakes on both.
Hey, that's cool. We didn't think you would, but we're looking for gnomes on the very high off chance that they might be able to tell us something.
Well,
We're kind of desperate to get this net.
If you're looking for gnomes, there's a lot of them on an island to the southeast, the Covelli Island. That's where I'm from, the gnome says.
Oh, cool. Molly, would you mind marking that?
Or so the southwest.
Oh, yeah, Molly will put that on her map, and she will mark it appropriately.
If you pull out the map, then she can point at it that, like, if you happen to look at the game feeds and you look at the large map,
yes.
Do you see where there's sort of a large central island? That was the first place you went. And you went to an island to the northwest, the town of Tanya there. That's Elatos. If you look southwest or down left, there's the group of 3 islands, kind of to the south, right?
Yes.
And then there's one sort of down left from that, which is sort of solo. And then there's one down from that looks exactly like a bunny rabbit.
Yes.
It's the Bunny Rabbit Island.
Okay.
And this isn't super important either. So if you can't answer this for whatever reason, just say so. But honestly, I'm still curious. What she asked essentially, what do you got? What does what do your employers even sell? I'm honestly just curious.
We are employed by the Burning Tears Trade Goods and Jewelry Exports Company. They sell trade goods and export jewelry.
Okay, yeah. We obviously don't need that. We're well stocked on jewels, and well, also, you wouldn't know this, but we're not that type of people.
Yet you still couldn't appreciate some nice rocks, huh?
Yeah, that's actually really surprising because, we've got nice rocks, but you're just guards, so I don't expect you to like have an encyclopedic knowledge of rocks.
They look offended.
I don't know how much they're worth. Wait, can you appraise jewels?
I mean, that's not really our job. I mean, we can look if you want, I guess.
Or do you want to show them the jewels?
I mean, you paid us.
I mean, I could, but most of the stuff, like, I want to keep it.
Yeah.
I would just like to say it is very pretty.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't really need you to appraise them. We already paid you with coins, so.
And I want to keep them, if I'm being honest.
Well, we're not thieves.
We know. We weren't thinking you were gonna steal them. We just already paid you with coin, so the offer's off the table to pay you with these valuable gems.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to ask?
I don't know. Anybody else have any questions? Because we honestly don't know very much, and we have somebody who's willing to tell us things because of money.
Can you just give us a basic rundown of what's going on this island? What's with the company you're working for? Tell, as much as you can tell us about them.
So,
there's weird stuff.
hmm?
Yeah, there's weird stuff going on here. I don't know.
We didn't expect there to be any conspiracy issues.
Well, there's not a conspiracy as far as I know. Yeah, there's nothing weird going on. The only thing weird is you guys.
You know what? That is entirely fair.
I mean, but I also feel like it's not entirely true because, like, you thought like we were going to try to rob the company you're working for, or rob you. Like, what?
This is a
You
really small
stopped
island.
an armored cart, and then you're paying us information to ask us questions? That's weird. That's never happened before in my entire life.
I'll be completely honest with you. It was literally just because you were the first gnome we saw,
And
that's
our
weird.
instincts kind of got
I mean, weren't you kind of the ones that like you asked what we could give you for the information? So you're the ones who asked to be paid for it, didn't you?
Yeah, and you're paying us.
We don't need to go into questions of ethics here.
Now I am
Paladin.
curious. I am curious what a jewelry company would do, so, like why they would choose to settle on such a small, isolated, not much going on island.
Yeah,
Good
Pearl
point.
Island. Well, they're
So
like
the dwarf points back at the lake and says, "Do you see the water back there?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the Jolene Lake. That's the largest repository and source of pearls in this sector of the world."
Oh, that's where the pearls are. We thought they were in the sea. Like I said, we're actually clueless. So
The Zargos
Yeah,
are
we
the
were trying
largest
to get
exporter.
information, but
Yeah, the Zargos are the largest exporter of jewelry in the entirety of the White Sea.
yeah, pearls checks out. Yeah, I didn't put that together for some reason. We're we're not really here about that. So I guess I mean thank you for the information, but I do kind of feel like we probably don't really have anything else to offer each other because we're looking for a guy with a net, and you guys work for a pearl company. So
I mean, just getting a good idea of what's going on this island seems like a good idea, considering how clueless we obviously are.
that's true. I mean, if you guys want to ask any more questions, Eldrin, Gio, and Molly, go ahead. But I feel like I think we've gotten what we needed, or what I needed, not necessarily what we all need.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Who is the governing authority here?
That is a great question.
Oh, here it would be Zargo.
Zargo the company? I mean, like,
Capitalism.
oh, okay. So, how would we talk to
Amanda
people from
Zargo.
Zargo?
Amanda Zargo runs the business, and I mean, they basically. I mean, as much as one can own the island, they own the island. And so, in terms of government, Most people are kept in check because they're just decent folk, but those that get out of line, I mean, we occasionally get roving bounty hunters. There's a couple of other groups of sworn law, but for the most part, we follow the golden rule around here, and it does pretty well for us. So, in terms of a ruling authority, that would be Amanda Zargo.
Honestly, that's really good to know because I feel a lot more comfortable if we could do this on the up and up and people would stop thinking we're suspicious. I mean, I guess we are pretty suspicious, but like, we're pretty good folk. We just,
We work for different governments, just we're new around here.
yeah. Being able to do things officially would probably go a lot smoother. That way, we're not, you know, paying guards to give us information outside of town. You know?
Yeah, and let's not have another situation like Hope, please.
Yeah.
They
Not
just
that it
kind of
matters much-
stand there.
Yeah, not that it matters much to you guys, but we're not here to cause trouble.
Well, that's good. Anything else? This has still been the easiest gold I've ever made my entire life.
I mean, you, I've adventured quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, might
Anybody else
not be worth much to you, but it's worth a lot to us.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to be helping the economy and whatever.
There's a couple of snorted laughs from the dwarf.
Anybody else got any questions?
I mean, I think that's
I
it for
have
me.
anything. Yeah.
I mean, I don't suppose that if we gave you a few extra gold, you could, like, get us a connection to, like, talk to somebody higher up?
What kind of a connection? I mean, who would you want to talk to? Our supervisor?
I don't know. I flipped my Karen hair.
I was thinking a bit higher up than that. Maybe, like one of the Zargos?
I mean,
I don't
maybe.
know. We usually have letters of introduction. This is weird.
Yeah, this is kind of out of our depth. We normally already have a connection because we're in good with another government.
I mean, yeah, we'll take you to one of the Zargos. Guarantee it.
Oh, really? Okay, that'd be good.
All right, sure.
Another 5 gold each.
Oh,
Hmm. Does anybody else want to pay that up?
3
I
gold?
don't think I have any money.
Fine, 3 gold each.
Yeah, I'm
3
running,
gold each. Okay.
I'm running a little low on. I think we all are, probably because we keep giving away money like this.
Oh, I'm not. I just am a bit stingy with it, especially with people who are like asking for money. If people don't need the money, I'll gladly hand it out. If they're asking for it, that's different.
Okay, so 3 gold each.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Who's paying that? Okay,
I
I'll pay
can't.
them
I
3
only
gold.
have-
What, Aladrin? I mean, Fionn?
I was just saying I can't. I only have 5 gold to my name.
Okay, I have more than 6 gold. I'll hand them the 6 gold.
okay. You hand them the 6 gold. You say, okay, so camp here for the night, and we'll be going back to town in the morning. And when we go back to town, just follow us. And when we're in town, we'll introduce you to one of the Zargos.
Wait, don't we have rooms in an inn?
I'd be fine with staying out here.
Yeah, but we already pay. We have rooms in an inn, right? Or am I confused?
I don't think you have rooms.
Yeah, I don't think we ever got rooms.
Yeah, staying out here sounds fine. I'll have to go visit my goat in the morning, but this is a small island. It'll be a short walk.
All right. Good night. There's some laughing between the two, giggling as they turn and leave, you hear a clap and can see them high five in the distance.
Hey, I mean, at least we didn't have to kill them.
Yeah, and I haven't actually.
Yeah.
That's always a plus for me.
Did I actually hand them the gold already?
I presume you did.
I wouldn't have. I would have said like, yeah, well,
Oh.
I'll pay you in the morning.
Well, in that case, they'll say, nope. Pay us,
No?
we're not going to take you. Pay us
How
now.
about 3 gold now, 3 gold later?
3 gold now, 3 gold when we show up in the morning.
Now it's over 5 gold.
Well, yeah, it was 6 gold. 6 gold total.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Okay, yeah, that sounds acceptable. Okay, yeah. And I hand over 3 gold.
Okay, they take the 3 gold, and then it continues with the giggling and the high-fiving as they walk back towards the small town.
I like the idea that they come back in the morning and like Alagrin is stretching and like bench pressing boulders, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't have fucked with these guys.
Woodjulo,
They're totally gonna take us to jail, dude. We're gonna get locked up.
Yeah, I was about to ask, can I insight check them?
Yeah, I kind of would like to do an insight check too. I'm wondering if they're just gonna take the money and ditch us.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll an insight check. They seem fine.
Mine sucks. That's a 12.
Yeah, they seem fine. Anyone else like to roll an insight check?
I got 16.
Sure, I'll roll.
With
Can't
it,
be anything worthwhile.
that's pretty good.
I
And
got a 9.
9. Okay, so the Theon and Alandrin, they seem perfectly up and up and completely honest in every way. To Lee and Mollymort, they're definitely taking advantage, but maybe they'll be back. Maybe they won't. They're definitely taking advantage, but they showed up, and they did take half, but they did seem very eager to take the gold.
I don't know if this changes things, but I actually got a 21 because I forgot that my insight I have proficiency in.
Doesn't change anything.
Okay.
All right. Good enough for me. Let's camp out.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's a gamble. Okay. Any activities anyone like to perform while taking a long rest, or do you just want to skip to the morning? And also, how early in the morning do you all wake up?
Gets up early as always.
This is probably going to lead nowhere, but I think Theon would try it. I'd want to step away from the group a little bit and try and kind of call out in Sylvan, because I picked up Sylvan when I took on Titania's pact,
Mm-hmm.
to any fairies that I might see.
Okay. And what do you say?
Basically, I ask for help. Like, I don't know how to say it in character, but basically, I'm asking for, like, hey, can I have someone help me with finding some information?
I mean, they do seem to acknowledge you. They definitely are hearing you. They seem to be perhaps even understanding you. But, the only response they seem to get is just sort of curious looks. I mean, they don't ask any follow-up questions. No almanacs are produced.
Since they seem to acknowledge me, I'll continue to speak and say, I'm looking for Aiden Marsden. If anyone could help me find him.
Is Fiona about to become the founder of the FBI, the Fairy Bureau of Investigation?
There's
I'm
just
sorry, that got me really hard.
that's fine. The only response that you really seem to get is as if you would ask that to a puppy. Like they're just like head tilts and confusion, some laughing. Um, like it's clearly some sort of a silly game, or you know, who knows what they're really thinking. But none of them seem to say anything helpful. None of them say anything at all, really. They don't seem to
Yeah,
do
I mean,
anything
that's pretty
helpful.
much
They're
what
just
I
like,
expected, but I figured it was worth a shot.
yeah, just it's unlikely that they have any concept of an Aiden Marsden.
We barely do.
Yeah, you barely do.
All right, then. Before I go to bed, I also want to, take the time to scry. We have all the party here. I can't scry on or attempt to scry on Aisden again because it takes 24 hours for that.
Yep.
Um, I'm I'm gonna scry on my kitchen, my home kitchen.
Okay.
See
It's
if mom and dad are having dinner.
it's the middle of the night, just so you know,
Oh,
because it's
okay,
like it's
never
kind
mind
of
then.
late in the well, rather late in the evening. But if you're still interested, you can.
Wait, quick
Yeah,
thought, and I don't know if this will work because I don't know the details of the scry spell. Lee, did you see the net?
Yeah, I saw it
Can
in.
you scry on the net?
I don't think I can scry on an object. Let me check real quick.
Yeah,
Like
my
this
understanding is
Yeah,
that you can
I,
scry on an individual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on a creature.
I can
okay,
scry on
cool.
places as well as creatures, so let me just check real quick.
Oh, you should scry on the place that the net is.
Yeah, but you don't know where the net is.
Yeah, it was just a dumb joke.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff today where it's like, yeah, I figured it wouldn't work, but I don't know what else to try.
It is worth a shot. It's always worth a shot at this point. Like anything that we can utilize, bring forward. There are no dumb ideas. Please do feel free to say, whatever you guys think of.
Yeah, I can only scry on a creature or a place I've been.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't think of much else I can use this scrying for. I'm not gonna go scrying on Philbin and Alondria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me, you don't want to do that. Okay, so maybe this will help. And I pull out Aiden Marsden's jar of collected toenails.
Aiden Marsden's jar of collected toenails.
Yeah.
I mean, I still can't do it. It still takes 24 hours for me to be able to do the spell again on him.
You had a jar of his toenails?
Of course, I totally would have thought of getting something that was related to him for scrying later. Totally.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
I
have a
have
jar.
doubt.
And no, there is no point in which I got a
Yeah,
jar of this thing.
you didn't even investigate where the dude lived. You most certainly didn't find a toenail collection.
Yeah, it was his fingernails. Toenails would be ridiculous.
Anyway, if there is no other constructive business, then we can move on
Um,
to the following morning.
yeah, I am gonna scry on my kitchen just to check, and
Gotcha.
I am going to I'm going to be preparing this scrying spell around everybody in case anybody would like to chime in and, you know, in case they want to request scrying on somewhere. Otherwise, it's going to be a private scrying.
Hang out and talk to Jacob and Mark. Make friendly conversation.
All right. Would anyone like to make a scrying request through Mollymort, or? Gotcha. So, Mollymort is you scry on your home kitchen.
I actually do have one. Ormus. You
Hmm?
scry on Ormus for me?
Ormus is here.
This
He,
is it.
he's quiet, but he's just chilling. Anyway, so as you scry on your home kitchen, you are pleased to see, or perhaps surprised to see, your father in his full-length nightgown, and he seems to be drinking from some sort of an earthenware cup, and also eating what appears to be a sandwich. Part of a sandwich. And it's relatively dark in the room, and he seems to just be quite content humming a song, or not so much a song, but a tune that he's been humming a lot longer than your entire existence. A familiar, comforting tune that just hearing it makes you think of home and just feel safe because it just triggers some sort of an ancient memory of him, holding you while rocking on a swing in the forest, or going through sunlit fields of crops on summer days. But just that song as he's just sort of humming to himself in between bites and sips as he's enjoying a sandwich.
All right.
What kind of sandwich?
Can I tell?
Hmm?
Can I tell what kind of sandwich it is?
Vegemite?
Make a perception check at disadvantage.
That would be a 14.
Okay, and that's with a disadvantage.
Yeah, my perception is +7.
That's pretty darn impressive. It appears to be split from some sort of a small roll that seems to be toasted on the top and bottom, squished in. You don't see anything like a cheese or anything, but there are drippings, not so much drippings, but there are scatterings of different chopped greens that are involved. And you can also see part of an onion that's been sliced and on the counter, so there's likely onions involved. In terms of some other ingredients, it seems to be that this is... it's tough to tell with that sort of a perception. It doesn't look like it's some sort of a... maybe like a salad sandwich? Some kind of a salad? In the sense that it's like a combination of various things pressed together. It's not like it's probably not like a sliced animal. A lot of the things, that your father has a predilection towards sandwiches. Anything that's left over, he's going to shove it into a roll and he's going to eat it.
I dig it.
Yeah, and it's one of these things like it's, how some people make like corned beef hash, or not so much corned beef hash, but more like Thanksgiving Day hash, where it's just you just take all the leftovers, put it in a pan, fry it, and eat it.
Yes.
Kind of like that, in that it's just a combination of various things. It looks like maybe there were some bits of some kind of a meatloaf. Maybe that there were some ground or torn venison that was applied, but it does seem to be that it is quite heavy with some raw onions and some sort of a chopped green, and it is within a toasted bun.
All right.
But in terms of
And
the internals, you can't really tell.
after I do enjoy my private little scrying, then I will, give the announcement that, I have another scrying ability in case anybody wants to check in on anybody. And I kind of pointedly look at Adira.
Adira just kind of looks back like, oh, I don't really, I'm sure my grandfather's fine. There's no reason to watch him sleep. But I don't really have anyone else to look in on.
Can I ask about scrying on Durzo?
On who?
Durzo?
Durzo? Yeah.
Yeah, my ex-leader. Because last time we went to look for him, we couldn't find him. So.
Yes, you could. You have not seen him since the day that the mayor was killed, when you were in a fight in front of the mayor's palace with, and that was at a point where the mayor's corruption had gotten Jacob and Mark to fight against you guys. as well as Durzo, although you think he was doing it on his own. But after that fight, he ran off, and you just haven't been able to find him. But yes, absolutely, Mollymort, you recall meeting this individual, so you could attempt to scry on him if you like.
Yeah, I'll, take Beyond's hand and give it a go.
Okay, so you have met the target. That puts you at a +0, but you don't have anything from him. You're not especially familiar with the target, so essentially it's just kind of a straight roll. So what is your spell save DC?
It is 15.
Okay. All at once, swirling in the bowl. I'm assuming you have a bowl of the water that you poured into. So
Yeah, it's my platinum bowl with
that and
seawater.
all right, you've got it so that everyone can see it as well.
I got it so at least Beyond can see it as well.
Okay, got it. Looking through it, you're quite surprised that you know exactly where this man is. Looking through it, you immediately recognize the Bouncing Betty. The Bouncing Betty being kind of a dirty tourist trap, goblin-run establishment in Torinia.
Oh, I still have the weird map that Herb gave me.
Yep.
Well, that's worth knowing.
And he seems to be drinking heavily, and there's music playing. There's all kinds of stuff going on. It's not exactly the prettiest picture. I won't get into a lot of it, but yeah, he seems to be enjoying life, and he does seem to be not alone, but by himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to see he's at least gotten over the whole situation and that happened there.
Not necessarily. This is a guy that did try to kill you.
Yeah, I did worry when you said that we knew exactly where he was. I was worried that he was
He's right behind you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought.
That is literally what I was concerned of. Was like he's on the island.
Or worse, like you recognize Lee's grandmother's house.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I am evil enough. I would do that. But
I know you would. I believe you.
But he just happens to be at the Bouncing Betty.
All right. Well, it was worth looking.
Indeed.
Okay, that's it then.
All right. On to having a long rest. And you certainly had rests in the wild before. This is not too big of a deal. Some people keep watch. There's an alarm spell that's deployed. I'm assuming it's for anything, like what size? I'm assuming you put up an alarm, Theon?
Yes, I do. I specified any of our party and I can't remember his name, wizard, not Alondrius.
Arata?
Name. Arata. Arata is cool, and the two guys, or the woman and the man, Noman.
Do you really want to make an exception for Arata to sneak up on you?
No. Yeah, I don't like that. I want to know if Arata's coming. I want to know.
Yeah.
Also, the gnome and what was it, dwarf? I wouldn't want them to have permission.
Yeah, I want to know when they're here too. We don't trust them.
Okay, yeah, then just the party and Sylvan and Alondria, just in case for whatever reason they decide to teleport to us.
Okay.
Just wondering, the alarm spell, would you have to pass a perimeter, or if you teleport in there, would it still go off?
That's a fair question.
If you enter the area of the spell in any way.
All right, so it's not like a tripwire. Okay.
Well, let me double check that because
I'm checking that too.
If you enter the area.
Whenever a tiny or larger creature touches or enters the warded area. So, in the sense that if you created an area, let's consider it a volume, you can designate a 20-foot cube. Anything within the volume of that 20-foot cube would be considered the alarmed area. And so anything that touches anything within that alarmed area, including the cube itself, externally or internally, would set it off. So if you teleported within that area, if you set it as an area, then it would go off. But if you chose a door or a window, you could teleport past the door, and as long as you never touch the door, you'd be fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is why I've always used it to where I'm like, even if we're inside a building, I set it to where the beginning of the area is the door back into the front room. It's the 20-foot cube, you know?
Yeah, and in fact, this was, I don't think you actually went for this, but this was one of the puzzles of how to get past this that Jareth had asked your assistance with. Is that his wizard was, they were basically, well, not his wizard, but they were sort of short teleporting past the door that had alarm on it. And that's how they were breaking in, because they didn't touch the door. But
Clever.
there were other requirements and other restrictions. But anyway, but yeah, you could, if it is set on a door or window or other surface, as long as nothing touches that, then it doesn't count. But if you set it as an area, then anything that enters into that area, including by teleportation, would set it off. So, in terms of size, what size creature? Just medium and larger, or are you counting like chickmunks and all the other sort of things? Or if a bat flies through the volume, do you want flies through the volume of the area? Do you want the church bells to go off? Or
I'm gonna say like general stuff that I feel like can't cause any real harm to us, like insects and bats and stuff like that.
All right, so
It'll be
basically,
fine.
gotcha. All right, so basically like tiny to small or larger.
Yeah, because I'm not worried about a mouse bite, you know.
He wakes up with a scorpion on his face.
It's a really
snake
tiny
in
one,
bed.
so that's okay. Granted, they're much more toxic, but whatever. Or venomous. Okay. Yeah, you guys pretty much undisturbed through the evening. You do hear some odd kind of howling of perhaps some sort of prowling creatures off in the distance. You do hear some, quite a bit of bird activity, a lot of screeching and things. And you can only imagine the variety of life that is on some of these islands. There's little lizards and things that you see scurrying about. But soon enough, day arrives.
Lee will get up early and go swimming.
Okay. Do you go through
Please.
town to go
We're
swimming?
supposed to be waiting for people.
It's okay. You guys can deal with it. I'll go through town and meet my goat and go swimming with my goat.
Okay, so you just start walking towards the main village?
Is this not the same town we were in before?
No.
Okay, then yeah, I'll go back. I'll go back to the place that I left my Capricorn and my equipment.
All right. Lee awakes and immediately splits the party. Would
Anybody want to come with?
anyone else like to go?
Aldrin would probably be up because he's an elf. So would Ormus.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd probably go with it.
Okay, you're going with him, then I'll stick around here.
Yeah, I'm staying behind.
Ormus will stay behind too.
It'll be at the break of dawn, so I'm hoping that I'll be back by the time they come back.
Well, you're leaving kind of first light kind of brightness early?
Yeah, when are we expecting them?
They didn't really say. They said that they would be coming by tomorrow morning.
I'll be back, after not too much time. But yeah, I'll go like really early, like crack of dawn, because that's like kind of Lee's thing.
All right. I mean, it's not like it's too far. It's maybe about a mile's walk, a little less than a mile.
Yeah, which is, that's like Lee's walk to work before.
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad. So you heading off, everyone else situating themselves, waiting. So Lee, do you go directly to town, get your goat, and like how do you get back? You keep the swimming goat?
Uh, Honestly, I'm okay with the goat being in that form for the time being because I'm not using them on the island.
Okay.
I'm gonna, just check in with my goat, pat him on the head, make him feel better, and get my saddlebags. I'll sling them over my shoulder,
All right.
and I'll pay whatever stable. I know the goat is not in the stable, but is in the water next to the end that is near the water. But I'm still going to pay them for stabling my goat.
You're gonna like go to the dock, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's a very small one. But yeah, I mean you don't really see anybody that seems to be receptive in terms of being authoritative, I should say, in terms of taking coinage. But there are certainly individuals that are moving back and forth that'll be happy to take your money.
What about the crab shack? I thought we were kind of like out in front of the crab shack.
Yeah, but it depends on where your goat wants to go. The whole thing, it's just a bunch of buildings that are all sort of oceanfront.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm not gonna
Depending
say
on where
it's
you swung it or where it swam, you know.
Yeah, I guess I'll just let him free roam like a puna.
Okay. Do you want to go in and give the money to the Teal Oyster Club?
Yeah, no, if he's free roaming, then I'm not gonna pay anybody.
Okay, fair enough. And you want
I'll
to take
just
your
grab my
laps?
saddlebag. Yeah, I'll grab my saddlebag from the stable in front of the what was it, Teal Oyster, and start heading back.
Okay. Well, heading back like to swim or heading back towards the group?
Oh, I already did swim. My mistake.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking because I just want to know time wise because it'll take you several minutes to swim, I would think.
Oh yeah, probably like a good half hour. But at this point, it's what, like 6 in the morning, 6:30 at this point.
Yeah, but I'm just asking. So,
Okay.
Fionn, what do you want to do when you get to town? Fionn may or may not be with us.
Sorry, I was muted and didn't realize it. What was the question?
What do you want to do? Because you went with Lee back to town, and Lee's just swimming laps. He might be swimming for another half an hour. What do you want to do?
I'll start fishing.
All right. You start fishing along where Lee is and where Lee's goat is. I guess make a fishing roll. I suppose dexterity would be involved, but possibly also some survival instincts or maybe some nature knowledge might come into it. Or I don't think charisma could really apply.
Uh, if if he rolls really good or if he rolls really bad, does that mean he catches the goat?
Probably not, but let's see.
Well, I mean, I think before a lot of the time we've used survival, so I figured just go with that.
Yeah,
I
but
still have a
you know, I
bonus.
I can make it open. You know, whatever skill seems applicable, I'm willing to accept other ideas. So survival works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just standard, standard ass everyday fishing. I feel like is pretty vanilla.
Okay.
Make it a attack roll.
That's a 10.
Yeah, you don't really. You're fishing in exactly the right spot. You'd think that there would be a good amount of fish. But there just doesn't seem to be that many fish really biting.
With the goat, he's scaring them all.
Could be.
And Lee's splashing over there too, so.
You don't know.
After not getting any fish, Fiona, I guess, would just kind of just hang out. Maybe do a cursory glance of seeing if he can see any edible foliage, berries and fruits and stuff.
I would like to note that I cast water breathing before we went to bed, and it lasts 24 hours, so you guys can still breathe underwater if you want to take a dip.
All right. And of course, Lee could refuse that, I guess, or you could just hold your breath anyway. Just as part of the training.
That
Hmm?
you refuse the water breathing?
I'm just asking if you would.
Oh, who Lee?
Yeah, you refused it last time.
Yeah. Did we do something different this time?
No, she just cast water breathing again, so it's a question of if you're refusing to accept it again.
I probably would have accepted it, but I don't remember what we did with it.
Nothing.
Oh, then probably not. I don't know. I'm not sure what we were doing.
Well, nothing. She's just casting water breathing on you. I'm just asking if you want it or not.
Before bed, I cast it because I saw the lake that was over in the town when the people left.
Yeah. And last time when she cast it, the previous 2 times, in fact, you had asked to not have it cast on you. So I'm just asking if you asked again to have it not cast on you.
I guess so.
Okay.
My confusion comes from not really like knowing what was going on.
Not much.
Not much. Mollymort's just before you go to bed. She's casting. She's just ritual casting breathe water on everybody. And the last 2 times she had done it, you had said, "Oh, don't cast it on Lee." I'm just asking if you didn't want it again.
Yeah, I would refuse it because I'm like, oh, I got to get up early and go swimming.
Okay. All right. But Theon could breathe water if he so chose. But walking around town, you do recognize the symbol that you saw in the cart. You see that on a couple of the smaller buildings. But beyond that, or rather some of the larger and smaller buildings. But not a lot of fish to be had, it seems. And overall, it just doesn't. I mean, it seems quiet, sleepy town. Like, or maybe it's just really early. But before they get back, the armored cart, once again mounted and driven by a gnome and dwarf, does approach towards the camp on the side of the road. And they call out, "All right, 3 gold and we'll go take you."
Okay. And are Lee and Fion back yet? Sorry, I got
No,
distracted.
they are not
No?
back. Nope.
I guess we're going without them.
All right.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna try to stall for some time and sit and offer them breakfast because I still have food in my hat and
Thanks, but we
I'm
already ate.
sure we have food. Darn. Okay, I guess we're going then.
3 gold
This
first.
is just for my own benefit because I'm mildly paranoid. What colors is the symbol?
White.
Because white, it's pure white.
White-ish paint.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks like it's just some sort of a quick stencil that's likely just painted quickly with some sort of a white dye.
All right.
Alright, so we're gonna get into this next week, or because it's 7 now.
Yes, we're gonna get into it next week.
Yes.
But I just want to confirm if you pay them or not.
Yeah, I just told them we'd pay them when they came in the morning.
Okay. Well, they're more than happy to let you follow the cart back to town with them. So, all right. So I know Fion's going to be out. Will anyone else also be out, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll be
I don't
swimming.
think so.
All right. So, well, I guess we'll schedule to be all here next week. And, yep.
Except Fion.
Except Fion, of course. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Possibility I won't be able to make it because of traveling, but I don't really know quite yet.
Well, let us know when you know, and we'll try to figure out then
Oh,
what
there
we
he
want to do
goes.
about it.
It's okay. I'll be swimming. I don't really need to be there.
Okay.
See you guys later.
All
Yeah.
right.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.